guess we'd do a photo
So,
op.
questions? Does anyone have any general, specific questions for certain people?
So what would you guys do? We're doing the gala right now. So what would you guys have suggestions or like thoughts about for next year? Blindly guessing.
I guess.
Blindly.
Well, how would,
Yeah.
alright.
In terms of like the theme or planning or getting awareness?
I'd say in terms of, like last year we heard from like the council that there was a lot of struggle with just like there was a lot of unhappiness for like feedback from people that said they weren't involved in the planning of it and they didn't take enough consideration of the students. And so we didn't really get that this year. And initially we tried to keep it open, like an open tent to like take all suggestions, but at the end of the day you really have. So I guess how would you feel?
For example, we're not having a dinner. Would you guys have done that? We're not really having any like.
Or how would you take feedback from something like that in planning events, and how would you factor in? I mean,
well, I did speak to Laura a little while ago, and she mentioned that the first thing would be to not have the name gala because it messes up with the undergraduates, and they call it the International Gala, so people have been getting really confused over the last few weeks. And it used to be a banquet, and so that would probably be the first thing to remove confusion.
mm-hmm.
And the dinner idea would be interesting. We'd have to see our budgets and stuff like that, and Joanne would probably figure that out. And when it comes to advertising it, I think if you've noticed our campaign is everywhere, it would be a good idea to maybe make the gala that huge, make people notice it, so at least they feel like they want to be a part of it. Maybe that way they'll give their suggestions. Anything else?
Well, I would try to get key students, key student leaders involved, kind of identify them over the course of the year, try to get them to recruit individuals, even help in the planning of that event, and that kind of one, increase numbers, and then two, you can get other people's opinions. You know, they're kind of maybe an informal representative of a group of students.
Great answers. I did have, I think a few you mentioned, which I also thought said last year, that GSOM is segmented as just in terms of the different student groups. I think you mentioned you have part-time students, who's a huge segment of the population that's not really active or engaged. You have 50-year students who are in all of the GSOM classes, but there's not as much, I guess, involvement's the right word. How would you, and this is open to anybody, how would you, as a member of the council, get more integration and more interaction between the groups?
I think that's kind of, like I spoke to creating events around people's schedules, so like the times when we're together is when we're in class, and really that's it. But that might be the only time that the fifth years and the part-timers and the full-times and the dual degrees are all together. So have events right before the class times, because a lot of business classes are from 9 to 12, 1 to 4, and 6 to 9. So have something in between those classes, maybe across the hall or right after 9 o'clock, so that it's not out of their way. They can walk out the door and they're part of the event. So really just make things right there and accessible for them.
Both in Carlson Hall as well as Southborough.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I notice having a diverse range of events, because some events aren't going to appeal to all students. Some don't like to be out late at night, partying, especially part-timers. Some students also have families. So trying to appeal to different groups. So come up with like an event for focusing on some students who have families, or something that's during the day. A lot of students go away on the weekend, so you might not be able to integrate a whole group, but you can at least get certain segments and then work from there. So hopefully maybe branch them to other groups.
So the beginning of the year, we had several events and mixers and whatnot. Having you guys been through almost a full year of school, do you guys have any suggestions how you guys would run next year's orientation?
I like how things were done during orientation, like the barbecue, I think, for the first event. So Alex did a great job there. I think that's kind of how I was able to socialize with all the students who were there, being the only American and surrounded by all the international students, mostly MSF students. So it was a great, experience, great way, to stand out and to get to know students, and students get to know me. So like kind of like a free orientation party is good. I know I'm part of the organization Net Impact, and we're trying to see about getting some volunteer activities beforehand during orientation. So students students actually have requested quite often have a chance to do some volunteer work, and we're trying to kind of organize that. We're not sure we'll have it this semester, but being able to partner with student council, we can definitely do maybe larger events, go somewhere else, create our own volunteer day here at GSOM, and so forth.
I think that I have mentioned before about the barbecue one. The first time that I met Arjun, then I got to know, okay, I should be a part of student council leadership team. Also, I'm suggesting that I really appreciate the ideas of when you're bring come to be, some kind of Asian night, or maybe some kind of competition which called like GSOM student got talent or something like that, and maybe kind of exchange program or maybe cultural program that bring all the students from diversified different countries together, and then or something that we can bring some traditional thing that you can do to represent your country and maybe your control. So.
And I would suggest to get our students out of their comfort zone. Don't do things at school. Somewhere out of school, as I suggested, in the mountains, in the field, and then the bonding maybe could be easier to establish.
And I think that orientation week is the best time to capture student attentions, especially new students. Talk to them, listen to them, listen to their interests, and up and that plan events for the rest of the year. So during orientation week, there should be some event planned where we are sure that everyone, at least most people, will be there, and then try to talk to them and have their suggestions and work